I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Immediately, do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
Talk about what it means to be a man in this threatening environment.
Oh, I remember, and remember I sent you guys played you guys that stupid guy from Boston, the Be a Man guy.
Oh, fuck.
That basically just makes like toxic masculinity jokes once a week. I just think that's great. But
that's good. That's good times. That's funny stuff. But nothing funny about the loss of masculinity, man.
No. The end of men.
You brought this to our attention.
Chris, this is your fault. So Chris, what did you interpret that trailer as? Like, were those real men we witnessed in the trailer?
I had to process it for a while, but I think they're definitely real men. They're
those are the real men.
Oily, sweaty, naked men.
They wrestle
on
each
my
other
screen so that I can admire them. They wrestle each other. Jars of canola oil, I read.
Yeah, and they guzzle eggs like
seductively.
Just hauling on a giant hoss. Okay.
They milk cows.
That's right. What the fuck is that? Yeah, okay, that one got
real close up of the cow.
I don't know if that threw me off guard. And now I'm starting to wonder if like Tucker Carlson's aware.
No,
like a dark awareness.
I think he's got trolled by his own production crew. That's
I
the
felt
only
the same
explanation.
Way.
Yeah.
You could not have on The Simpsons, you could not have had Mr. Burns tell Smithers to make a video about manliness. They couldn't have done that.
Couldn't have done it any better. We work hard, we play hard. Yeah, what the fuck? And what was the guy on the fucking pedestal? Jesus Christ, but he was infrareding his dick and balls.
Yeah.
That was dick beaming himself. Does that good for your dick and balls?
I have lingering questions about that. Maybe I'm not manly enough. Maybe we just didn't get the memo.
I don't know. I don't want to Google it either because I'm happy just wondering.
Well, what kind of result are you going to get for X-ray dick and balls?
Yeah.
That's I'm a little curious.
So you think just maybe sort of it's maybe an inherent a sort of survival mechanism to not Google that.
I think so.
Maybe we just have to watch the movie. That trailer is very effective. Yeah.
Maybe it's a season.
I am concerned that he puts these things out. He's such a fucking dum-dum. But he puts a bunch of this bullshit out. Old Bowtie does. On the one hand, I don't want to talk about this stuff because when you talk about them, it gives power to these assholes, right? That's what they want. Maybe this was purposeful. Maybe this incredibly homoerotic takedown of the feminization of culture and shit like that. Maybe they did this on purpose to get Twitter to pile up on top of them and get people talking.
Because then they get to say look, even if you show the peak of masculinity, that could just feed into his talking point to his audience.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. I on the one hand, I'm really hesitant to give them that much credit, but then again,
I won't do it.
But at the same time, that guy's a disgusting force within American.
Oh God, yeah.
Sort of political discourse.
You know what my biggest question is too? I have a big question. Are people that talk about real men, are they real men? And also, what defines a real man? And also, baby boomers came from a pussy ass fucking generation that had their little asses padded by fucking glorious wages and their fucking parents fighting in wars. What the fuck are they talking about? Fuck off. True.
Totally fair.
Some of them went to NAM, I guess. Those guys are badass.
Fuck, Nam.
Nam was not nothing. I'll take
How
the
many?
challenge on Nam.
Couple fucking thousand and they're homeless. Give me a break.
Oh jeez. Prime Tucker audience right there.
Okay, that's not funny.
Yeah. Either way, but you're not wrong though. I mean, like this whole idea, like, we're becoming more feminized and shit like that. Like, honestly, this has been a conversation topic since the 70s, since the 60s. Since we came back from the war, and you know what, even prior to the war, it just constantly, everybody's concerned that men aren't manly enough.
And I feel like that's kind of a pissing point too, to say like basically, like, if you didn't go to war, then you can't be a man. If you're not in the army, you can't talk about being a man.
Yeah, there's nothing manlier than like showering with other men and dying on a field somewhere. That's fucking
I
dope.
guess so, and that's fair. In a way, like, and like, I mean, other people think of being a good parent as being a man, or not being a piece of shit as being a man, or I don't know, those kind of things. Contributing
being honorable
to society as being a man.
But have you considered oiled up naked men? That's all I gotta say.
I gotta tell you though, I did wrestle.
Well, there you go. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I could beam my dick, I would.
That is manly.
But this intense concern amongst right-leaning folk, and I don't know, I bet you even get it amongst left-leaning folk. It's just like this constant undercurrent that feeds into I don't know. It is the socially conservative element that underlies like all sort of. So I guess there's two types of. Maybe we'll make like a quadrant for obviously this isn't going to capture all of politics, but let's say that there's the social part of your politics, and let's say that there's the politics part of your politics. And you can be on the right and the left in your politics part, and then you can be socially or progressively. Social progressive or social conservative, and I think you can be. I think like the social conservative part is very, very sadly very, very strong, regardless of where you are politically, and a lot of people are very concerned about penises and vaginas out there. They're just so concerned about it, and guys like Bowtie can really hammer down on that and get viewers and push, and then start using that to push a political element, pushing like a right-wing element. But
you asked a really good.
Yeah, go on.
So I was gonna say, you asked a really good question though. Like, if you spend all your time thinking about this, or like, does it speak well for your manliness? It really does reek of insecurity, I'd say.
Yeah, or a preying upon others' insecurity. But I don't know. Yeah, Carlson doesn't look like the manliest man that ever existed. That's the funny.
No, I find that. I was gonna say, I find that's kind of the funny thing is that like I'm pretty sure like an angry 140-pound guy could just shake the shit out of him. Like, he just looks like an absolute sack of shit. And I have nothing to doubt that. He's just built like a fucking bag of milk.
It always reminds me of Preacher when Jesse Custer confronts all those KKK guys and he orders them to take their masks off, and he's like, how come it's always like, the worst representatives of the white race that always take up arms? He's like, where is your chin?
Just a bunch of chinless softies.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I like, it's unfortunate that this message is getting pushed by, because it gets tied to a bunch of other stuff, right? Like, it gets tied to, I didn't even watch the thing, but I mean, like, some sort of, they'll tie this sentiment, this concern over like testosterone, to, I don't know, fucking some sort of political, new bill or something like that, or some sort of statement made by some Democrat so and so, or even Republican so and so, in order to shame within their own party
or LGBTQ issues, or that.
Yeah,
like that's chiefly on their mind, I think.
Yeah. It's and it's it's such a weird to have that alignment with Russia between right wing. I guess it's been going on for a long time, but it's just like it seems as if there's a large portion of the world itself, like the world, not just America, Canada, the world, that is just again, I'll say it again, just so concerned about penises and vaginas and who has what, and whether or not people like are wearing pants or a dress, that it's I don't know, like it's almost tearing the whole world apart. Like we're just so distracted by that
I don't know.
issue.
I think it's very similar to religion. It's just like a stupid fucking distraction, and it just goes to show en masse how fucking dumb we are. It's just a distraction. Like it's like we're conservatives generally like stand on a platform of like wealth and power over people, and they bolster their own wealth. That's their main platform, and then they just dangle like a dirty little fucking Hershey Kiss down to the peons and distract you with garbage politics, and then you vote for these kind of donkeys, and it just seems like these like basic trickery just continues to work.
So sad, so true.
It's true. That's hard to refute.
I'm scanning my mind through the annals of history right now, and I was like, yeah, that all checks out.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about a lot, but that confuses me to this day. But I mean, like, if you believe that a big snowy fucking bearded guy beamed us here and had a bearded son, I mean, well, fuck.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
as Flavor Flav said, I don't got nothing for you, man.
Yeah.
So
didn't mean to go into atheism. You can cut this.
No, that's fine.
No, hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we're pretty atheistic over here. Visible Space Daddy can. No thanks.
Again, I have no qualms repenting to Invisible Space Daddy on my deathbed.
He will forgive me. He will forgive me.
No shame. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah. So today on the Extinction Agenda, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We got on tap a little movie called Heathers, which I get weird dates on this one. Everybody calls it 1988, but its release date was March 31st, 1989. Dark comedy, high school comedy, satire, I guess we could say, starring Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. And Chris, you we put together lists of like, these are our favorite movies, like just just the shit that we enjoy. And I noticed Heathers was on there, and I was like, you know what? Fuck, I haven't seen Heathers in a long time. Let's watch Heathers. So I don't know, introduce us to Heathers.
Yeah, this is one that I go back to every few years, and I forget large chunks of it, and I'm always asking myself, does it hold up? It's a movie that I discovered when I was a teenager, and really took to it. I remember just kind of wondering what black comedy was, so I was like, I'll just find the blackest comedy out there. This seemed to fit the bill for a lot of people, and I gave it a whirl, and I feel like this movie's responsible for a lot of my humor. So I was probably like, when I first watched it, it keeps giving. I find that I enjoy it every time I come back to it.
Right. Excellent.
That's fair.
Yeah. I was surprised the director, Michael Lehman, also directed Hudson Hawk.
That blew my mind too.
Yeah. With the writer, with Daniel Waters, also contributed to that, although there was other writers involved. And Daniel Waters also wrote with others Demolition Man and Batman Returns with Sam Hamm. So he went on to have a little bit of a career, whereas Michael Lehman went on to, he just, post 1994, he's a TV director, which is, that's fine. I'm not a TV director, so I shouldn't speak so ill of it, but, he kind of fell out of movies, though.
Well, he probably took the rap for Hudson Hawk, right?
It's totally possible. Someone had to take the rap for that movie. I love that movie, but
Yeah.
oof,
Me too. Yeah,
it's
we're big fans, and someday we'll probably come like if we get an episode. And I'm sure this is shocking to people because the how much we trash everything, but Hudson Hawk is in the good books.
yeah, for sure. James, you just watched this movie for the first time. How you feeling?
I was shocked. And I think I was so stunned by the content and by the language that I didn't laugh a lot, but then when I did laugh, it was at inappropriate things.
That's
And Winona Ryder is always such a fucking charmer. She still is to this day. Just love anything she's in. And now Christian Slater kind of stole the show here. And then I like that I like that the themes changed a lot. Like we did start off with like a Mean Girls, whatever. And, I'm using a newer movie, but like a high school drama, like a negative sort of rated R high school drama, and then flipped over to like a murder sort of sequence, and then it was like sort of a Bonnie and Clyde thing, and then it turned into like sort of a psycho fucking killer movie. It was just bizarro, with a lot of weird scenarios, like the gay suicide pact and the fucking morning Drano and the it's just like, I mean, like it's like deliberately stupid, but then like using suicide as a gag, just the Dear Diary entries, like fucking Captain's Log. It was insane. I think I'd like it on a second go around even more, because I wouldn't be as like taken aback by all the weird shit that happened.
Yeah, it's a lot to process, and I was actually looking at some of the background of this movie and looking at what Daniel Waters had to say about it, and he actually said that it's a movie where people typically hate it the first time and then come back to it and then decide that they love it. It's interesting to hear you process it the same way.
I didn't
Or not that you hate it, not saying you hate it, yeah, but like
I think I was like I would just shelf this to process it. I think was my biggest thing, and then to have like almost like the end sequence, the school bomb sequence ended up being like a weird like action thriller, like it was just like genre bending, a lot of variation there.
Yeah, and I think you touched on like suicide as a gag is in a like a high school drama is pretty fucking ballsy. I'll say that I've seen this. I'm watching it again right now, sort of in the background. This movie's not for me. I don't dislike it. I don't think there's anything like really wrong with it or anything like that. I don't like high school movies. These people are supposed to be 16 and 17, and it's all played by 20-year-olds, and I can never get past that. It's just like
Right.
it's something that always bugs me, and it always sort of takes me out of it. But nonetheless, that's the conventions, right? It's like men would play the parts of women in Shakespeare. Would I be distracted by that? Probably. Well, maybe I would. But yeah. Suicide as a gag is a good, like, I like that. We would never do that nowadays. We can't. And I'm not to say that we should, but I'm glad someone did. And fucked around with that idea of like teen suicide and stuff like that, and like really examined it satirically. I think it's a worthy thing to do.
Yeah, this would be a difficult movie to pin down its exact sentiment, but I did like one thing that Waters talks about is that he was really disgusted by the romanticism of suicide in teen culture and in teen movies, the way adults talk about it, and then so he really strongly wanted to make a statement against that. In fact, he said that the movie was his response to the way that media and other films treat teenagers. They don't seem to have a clue as to what young people were about and how they acted. They often portray teenagers as innocent victims of a cruel society, and I always felt that young people were born with a lot of evil already in them. So I wrote Heathers with the idea that most teens are not innocent victims and that it's a cruel world from day one. And that statement holds up for the I love how casually like evil and just like vicious they are, like especially the Heathers are with each other. Like when they like one of the Heathers is like throwing up the bathroom and the queen bee's like, yeah, bulimia is so 1987. Grow up, Heather.
Yeah, that's true.
Gently with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And they just abused other students, casually talked about sex, casually had sort of grotesque sex, with especially that horrific jock sex out in the old muddy field.
Cow tipping.
Yeah, the fucking cow tipping sex. So it's just like, you know, and it's true. Like it's funny that I think generally, like, you would find that adults put blinders on to high school age kids, but they're fucking gross little creatures.
Absolutely.
Well, we were there.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, we left it like, the most vicious shit. Like it's absolutely true. I think that's one thing that this movie really gets right. Like it's especially the dialogue in it. It's over the top. That's the source of its strength. It just kind of goes. It's not going to be stopped by logic or anything. But it's almost more like my wife said. It was kind of like lyrical. Like it just wasn't meant to be realistic. It's almost like speaking to something just like truer.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll buy that. Because it's not realistic. You know, like that's not the game it's playing. Like there's no way.
Greetings and salutations. Christian, I like Christian Slater in it, but like his Jack Nicholson imitation is like just like way out of hand. Like it's so on the surface.
Yeah. This is like his second or third role. He'd been in a bunch of TV stuff prior to this. And I think I recall reading somewhere that he purposefully did the Jack Nicholson. Which is good because he never stopped doing it.
That's exactly. It becomes more incorporated, but
yeah. I watched True Romance recently, and I was like, he hasn't changed a bit.
I did grab a lot of. There's the gentleman that does the the funerals.
Oh, Glenn Shaddix.
Yeah, from he's
Beetlejuice,
an old Tim Burton classic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pick up very Tim Burton vibes. Only Tim Burton likes to stay more in the PG range, but
yeah,
this movie came out this is the same year as Beetlejuice, which is difficult to imagine. Winona Ryder did like 3 movies that year.
Yeah, Winona Ryder's agent begged her not to do this movie. I read because they were just like it's going to be career suicide.
Yeah. And other movies were career suicide for her.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what though? Then you get older and you have like look at her Stranger Things run now, having a career resurgence as an absolute classic. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's only but that's just because the 90s are because we're adults now and what
we want Winona Ryder back.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I was talking with a school teacher who teaches in America, and the kids. She explains that the kids are all wearing like Nirvana shirts, and they're all like they're wearing all this 80s stuff, but they have no idea what it is. No idea what it is.
I'll send you a picture of Maddie recently rolled up to the house the other day after going shopping at Blue Notes and like fucking walks in the house like Kurt Cobain, and I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing? But I didn't say that. I'm like, I like your outfit, buddy. But yeah, intense, man. The kids are all of like full grunge, like big ass fucking oversized clothes, oversized shirts, sweaters, baggy pants, no fucks given, hats. But girls look like guys look like girls. Fucking Jared Leto in the house, whatever.
Yeah.
I swear that 1 out of 20 kids in my city wear Thrasher t-shirts. I see them all over the place. You don't know what that is.
That's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like this is she's very good at being Winona Ryder. And so fine, bring her back for a show that is all about pastiche and homage and shit like that. So that's I'm thinking like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I kind of alluded to this already, but I like the really, and Chris, you kind of said something this as well, like the swearing, the language in this fucking movie. It is like a response to like who's that fucking guy, that Howard Hughes guy, that Breakfast Club
Absolutely,
motherfucker.
Yeah. John Hughes.
John Hughes, thank you. Howard Hughes, that's a different one. Yeah.
I'll blow your fucking head off. Yeah, just beautiful. Just fuck you. You know, that literally gets said. Just big F-bombs, big swears, great language. And like honestly, high school kids talk like that too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I like when she blew his fucking middle finger off. That was fantastic.
Yeah. At the end,
fuck you.
They got their own, like I had either it was Daniel or Michael or one of them, they were talking about how they went out of their way to make their own slang. Like would talk about things being very, and that does help to give it, like they were like, it gives it kind of a timeless quality, and I was like, shit, it kind of does. Because you don't want people saying like gnarly and tubular and
exactly.
shit like that, because that the Ninja Turtles, that works with the Ninja Turtles, but that's about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
I still say gnarly.
You can say that stuff ironically, of course, but you can't. Nobody would give you the time of day if you were serious.
Yeah, they don't. And I am.
I say rad all the time to my kids.
Rad, yes.
Yeah. They like that. You mentioned like the John Hughes thing, and I think I found a great article in the New Yorker. It's called Heathers Blew Up the High School Comedy, and
I read
they
that.
specifically, they talk about it in terms of like just like positioning it. Like John Hughes was big at the time, and how like in those movies, teens are always supposed to overcome whatever difficult issues they dealt with. It got me thinking of how it's very common in teen culture and teen novels that like they're very issues driven, and this movie just sneers at all of that. Just with, like, and I think that's a big part of the the idea of cliques and like the suicide stuff. It's really like, I think the biggest target maybe are the adults in this movie, like the council of teachers, who are like, I'm going to hand out Heather's suicide letter. I just want you all to experience the pathetic beauty of it, and just how it all, like, everyone is willing to believe that that's like nobody's even thinking murder, because they're just ready to pounce on, like, here's a tragedy. This is exciting. Let's like everybody that then just kind of projects onto her.
Yeah. And it also is more than that. It's preyed upon. It's exploited by that same woman who wants to talk about their feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah, the crystal. She's got the crystal necklace or whatever.
Yeah, and she gets the camera crew in, and everybody hold hands and just show everybody how resilient you are, and like uphold this image for us. And sneering is a really good probably adjective for this movie, because the people like that woman is held in such disregard by the fellow teachers, let us know when the mothership lands, or and they're all rolling her eyes at her, and she's like the pop psychology lady. It's practically like a Frank Miller moment, where like pop psychology is the ultimate enemy of the good.
The talking head on that TV.
Yeah. Whereas everyone else, like, but there's still also a deep disregard, or not even disregard. I'll use the word sneering again, because like the guy who runs the school, the guy who runs the principal, they're like, I'd have given everybody half a day if it was a cheerleader, and they're just like,
right. Yeah.
I'm glad they used the word mirrored.
I like when he turns it over to the hippie chick. on the second suicide with the gay guys. It's like, no, let her do her flower power moment.
Yeah.
She has one of the best lines in the film too. The whether to kill yourself or not is one of the most important decisions a teenager can make.
Yeah. Fuck.
See, these are things like I think I was just so stunned by the moment to moment that I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back over this. This is this is a gem.
Mm-hmm. And for all that sneering, it still has something resembling a happy ending, in that like the chick who was part of the clique and was, you know, succumbed to the peer pressure and all that stuff, and who was trapped or ostensibly trapped by the pressures of school, sort of realizes, you know, like tries to reconcile themselves with the bully, not with the bully, with the victim of their bullying. Martha Dump Truck, what's her real name?
I can't remember either. Yeah, I can only remember Dump Truck.
Yeah, who looks like a mother of two. That really takes me out of it as well.
I like that she walked into traffic and didn't die.
Yeah.
Oh, and then like Shannon Doherty's like, oh, she's just trying to copy the cool kids.
Yeah. And there's something about that, though. There is a mimetic, you know, like amongst teenagers, there is a mimetic element. You know, they do copy each other, but it's kind of like an adult concern about children copying other children. You know, if there's going to be, well, we can talk about school shootings, you know, but if there's, you know, any sort of trend or something like that, parents are always like, oh, they killed, you know, they're going to start copying each other. But what drives her is a real despair. It's like a proper moment of suicide. And like she's seeing that all these other individuals, these popular kids are being rewarded for this act. And it's kind of like an opportunity for her to, like, a moment opens where she can like also take part in that and join in the, you know, the social togetherness, and also, you know, like overcome the, she doesn't seem terribly depressed. I know depression doesn't have a look, but she could have looked a bit more like forlorn. She mostly just looks angry.
Yeah,
but I guess depression can look like anger, so what do
I think this movie goads you a bit too into like enjoying the meanness of it, and then like slaps you in the face too. Like when she has that shirt on, big fun, and you're like, oh, like that's an unfortunate shirt for this woman. And then it's like that, like, you know, you see that right before like she makes her time, and that's like it's a genuine, like, you really feel for that character, and like it kind of like breaks that frame of, I don't know, the sort of like picking on the, you know, the lowest people in the school. And then there's that moment at the funeral with the gay jocks where, like, you know, they're making fun of her in the like they're laughing at the dad delivering the speech. You know, my dad, I love my dead gay son, and they're mocking them, Christian Slater and Winona Ryder. But then the little girl turns around, she's just like devastated, and you just like, it just gets to Winona Ryder, and she kind of sees what they've actually done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it goes back and forth. You know, I guess the Winona's the only one who really feels anything throughout this. Like, I watched her, but yet she participates in it. You know, she doesn't stop until the very end. You know, she's extremely, you almost want to say she's the most guilty person, because she's the most like conscious of her cruelty.
Except that like Christian Slater's right in that, like, she wants to believe him every time. You know, like, this gun isn't really a gun. It's you know, it's just gonna be, we're just gonna scare them, or you know, like, you know, this, we'll just give them this cocktail that was milk and orange juice instead of Drano.
Right.
Do you feel like that's the case though?
What, that she was actually tricked?
Yeah, like the gun one especially. Like, I feel like she didn't really like clue in until sort of became like an unwilling participant in that one, where it was like sort of she just had to see it through. Like,
I think so.
Like, she just picked up on that the first guy was dead, and then just like couldn't pull out of it. And then he manipulated the scenario by saying, "Oh, you wanted this."
Yeah, but I mean, like when they're talking in the bedroom before, like he's giving her the plan, he's like, this gun will, I forget exactly what he says, but like these are blanks or these will just stun them or something.
Oh, he says, he says there, it's kind of clever. He says they're like, it's a German for I lie. He's like, these are I lie bullets.
Meal or whatever.
Yeah,
bullets.
yeah. And
Okay.
and so he's explicitly lying to her, but she's supposedly really smart. I don't know. She's got like somewhere along the line she talks about how like she has a high IQ and she was fast tracked into school and shit like that. And she's not stupid, but she's stupid. She's stupid in the way that people are stupid.
Yeah.
And allow themselves to get pulled along at the same time as they know they're getting pulled along.
There was a cut scene at that moment where like she's supposed to aim at her cat. And like she's gonna test it out, and he's like, no, it doesn't work on small animals. I guess they for animal cruelty reasons they gave that a little cut.
I think that's maybe too much of a clue as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's on the one hand, you could argue that she's sort of tricked along the way, but in the other hand, like she doesn't exercise any agency, and Christian Slater. Like you can make sure you can just pay attention as to like what cup you have if it's full of Drano, right? You watched him pour Drano into it, and all of a sudden you're confused because like you put two cups side by side, like that's stupidity. And then same thing with this gun thing, like you're gonna scare someone with even if Christian Slater wasn't going to put a fake bullet in it, there's always a chance that there's going to be a real bullet because it's a gun, it's a deadly instrument.
They like you said though too. When in pulling that cat scene, I did read about that too. That they that it's too much of a giveaway. Like you got a feeling he's gonna shoot these two fucking guys, but you didn't 100% know until he shot that first guy in the neck, and then if you didn't clue in by then, go oh fuck, like then. Okay, well, whatever, but then they toy with you at the beginning with him firing the blanks at the jocks and making them shit themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, maybe he's just fucking around.
That's true. Yeah, and wow, have times changed in that one. Like watching that scene now, where you're like, this guy didn't even get suspended. That's times were very different.
Oh, there were blanks.
I read I read an article from 2019. I don't remember where. I was just like, I just typed in Heather's essay, just to look around and see what I found. And one of them was like, I'm a 24-year-old person and I've watched Heather's for the first time. And it wasn't like an intense moralizing, but they were just commenting on like this would never happen now. Particularly with school shootings and stuff like that. Like even when they did it's often commented that when they tried to reboot the television show, they kept having to like cancel episodes because there were school shootings all the time. Like Parkland happened and perhaps something else. I just remember there was at least one particularly bad year. And this was,
and it's just funny that school and from a real life perspective too, for like as far as schools go, allowing big fucking goofball guys to click together and act like that in a school setting is still a thing, and the tolerance for it is really high, and policing the behavior is really low. And it's kind of always been like that, and I mean, like it like logically, like just, I mean, there's I feel like there's always gonna be like a romance to just fucking pulling a gun on one of those rejects and blowing them away, and that's like, you know what I mean, like that's like sort of a, I don't know what that is, like sort of a weird like culture thing that is like I don't know if it's like a North American thing where you just like allow that to happen in schools until someone fucking snaps. But yeah,
that's well, okay. So in some instances, that's how it goes down.
Obviously, it's not common. I'm just saying it's.
No, but I was thinking, specifically of Columbine. I was thinking like I am not an expert on Columbine, but I have a recollection that had something to do with bullies. and that this response, the gunning of people in the school had something to do with being bullied. If I'm incorrect, I mean, there was a lot of other factors.
I think that was sort of the narrative that emerged around the time, but I'm pretty sure that's been disproven or debunked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong
really?
with that too.
I'm totally willing to accept that, based on like things that have happened afterwards. I honestly haven't given thought to Columbine since fucking Columbine happened. It's not an active concern in my imagination. But the shootings that have happened since then, a lot more information and a lot different scenarios and stuff like that. So
I feel like it's easier to drive a narrative that, oh, the guy's a fucked up incel, than it is to say, oh, this is a fucked up toxic system with shitty bullies and jocks in it. That no one really wants to fucking address that, especially with collegiate sports in the U.S.
I think the movie definitely like gives you that, like, Winona Ryder's very much, she explicitly says at the college party, it would be like killing the Wicked Witch. Like, I would be doing the school a favor. When people pray over her body, they're like, like Shannon Doherty is like, I prayed every day for her death. Praise the Lord. When she's like, yeah. And, it's like Winona Ryder's like, I just wanted my school to be a nicer place. Does that sound bitchy?
She's like, shit, Heather's more popular than ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think this movie makes the French Revolution argument against violence. Just that, like, another asshole is going to fill her place, right? Like, and Christian Slater is just the obvious, like, this is what would happen. Like, there's the fantasy and then, or like her fantasy, and then the reality is him, and it's just going to get out of hand. It's like, you don't actually want that, but it definitely like dangles that temptation in a very dark way.
Yeah, it doesn't do a good job of I think I'm kind of persuaded now that this isn't really about high school and about the social dynamics of high school so much as it wants to, because like, what does Christian Slater talk about? Like, this is society. High school is society, and I think the movie is more, because a movie that came out last year, one of my big ones for the year was a movie called Mass, which spoilers, it's about two parents coming together, sort of reconciling. It's kind of like a play. It's more like a play than a movie, but basically, like, one of the parents were the parents of someone who went on a mass shooting spree, and then the other ones were one of the parents of one of the victims, and they're coming together to try to reconcile with one another, and they're talking through everything that happened and the child's upbringing and stuff like that. And it's extremely, it sidesteps the question of Second Amendment in a kind of ham-fisted way. But then after it does that, it becomes very powerful. And this movie touches on none of that. None of that, like, that story is contained within Heather's.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't pick up on, like, I don't take away any serious themes from this. They use serious themes, and triggering themes, but they don't serve you any lessons. This is actually this is a true comedy. Like, if you try to take anything serious away from this, or say, oh my God, there's such a toxic message in this, you're a fucking moron. Like, there's nothing. This is a pure fucking satire and just an absolute joke. And it is a bizarro world. It's a purely fantasy realm. And I feel like that's sort of, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty overtly on the table.
Yeah. That said, there is. It does want to say something about power.
Definitely.
Somewhere in there. If nothing else, but not. You're right, James. Like, it's not like, this is not a manifesto or a programmatic statement or something like that. But like, amongst all that satire, there is the one theme is just about the corruption that comes with power.
Yeah, I think another place you. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, one place that really comes up for me is that college party, and I think it does. This is where it does talk about high school, but like, it's that being absorbed in that world where it just seems like, these people with this power over everyone are like, they have the power to make people's lives miserable forever. But as soon as she steps in, like, Heather's big reward for Veronica is that they get to go to that, like, or Remington University party, and they just get treated like shit. Like these creepy like jocks like are just all over them, and or like frat boys are all over them, and like it's like it's just a horrible experience. Like Winona Ryder gets too drunk, like is harassed by that guy and just pukes on Heather's shoes, and like there's all of the Queen Bee Heather's power is just for that, like to go down on some like creepy frat boy. Like that's what it amounts to.
Yeah. Well, just like there's another level of abuse waiting.
You're nothing.
Another ladder.
Like,
another ladder of abuse. She's a big fish in a small pond. And nonetheless, and I guess that's it doesn't do enough to make me feel anything for Heather Kim Walker.
No.
But who was but I mean it was kind of interesting, but it was kind of like when she spits in the mirror or whatever, like is like is that the source of her meanness? Is that like, but I guess the movie is not really interested in humanizing her, because otherwise you're not going to feel, you kind of want to not feel bad about her horrible poisoning.
Well, because you want to almost like you almost want to like they shuffle you from the poisoning straight into the casket, and you almost want they're looking for you to have a little chuckle.
Definitely. It occurred to me at that moment too that this movie is weirdly bloodless, except for the middle finger, like that gets a lot of blood spilled. But like when Heather, like I've seen worse on Supernatural, like just like horrific scenes with Drano, and like she just kind of like gargles, falls over.
Mm-hmm.
The shooting, like JD's gun is like a hand cannon, but it like just gives a little like pinprick on that jock's throat.
That guy's neck,
yeah,
that's true too. The in terms of I mean, considering how graphic the language and themes are, to have like no real graphic violence, or no gore, excuse me.
Yeah, but then you got to get like a special effects artist and shit like that, and then it becomes a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I think their budget was $3 million, so maybe that's the answers in there.
Yeah,
and they're more peddling us this is supposed to be like a social movie, right? Like or like a social comedy too. It's not it's not supposed to be a splatter movie.
Yeah. Because they had enough. I'm sure I know they had their original. If I remember correctly, they wanted to blow up the school and have prom in heaven.
That's right.
And the studio made them take that back, and they were like, no.
That's such a fuck you ending. Like, that's so nihilistic.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah. And apparently, at least as the director or writer tells it, the studio was like, if someone kills himself afterwards, fucking, we're gonna hear about it. So they were like, no, we can't justify it.
That's funny.
Yeah, which just gets back to those concerns, though. I mean, like, ultimately, the reason that we would be so why might this movie why would this movie not be made today? On the one hand, I guess trigger warnings and all that shit. We'd be too worried about individuals being re-traumatized by this. But then I think there would be another contingent of people who would be concerned that this condones murder and mass shootings and school violence and stuff like that, which it clearly doesn't. But you can see even back then they had a sense, like, all right, we can. It's all good, well and good for jokes, but we can't be seen to be endorsing this.
And even so, people did think that. People made both of those claims about the movie when it first got released.
Okay.
It's I love and I respect this movie for going all the way with it, though, and like JD just being the full journey of his is just being totally toxic, and like the movie recognizes that and just runs with it.
What the fuck's his motivation? Is it his mom? Did his dad kill his mom? I got the impression that his dad killed.
Yeah.
She walked into the building, like she committed suicide.
Yeah, she killed herself, right?
Yeah.
Is the sort of the.
Yeah. The building was wired to blow. Like it was like
Well,
shitty,
I
like,
think
move,
the whole gag was that she was in love with him, even though he was also a psycho killer. And then she just checked herself out basically by killing herself using one of his schemes or whatever. Was sort of the whatever.
I kind
That's
of
the
got that.
subtext that I picked up. But.
I kind of got that sense too, that there was something deeper between because the dad's such a fucking weird, and the relationship between Christian Slater and his dad in this movie is very strange. Like, hey son, how you doing? And they've got like a reverse role thing. And the dad's always excited about like screwing people over and blowing up buildings.
Yeah.
You just get the impression that like, what if mom commits suicide? There was probably a good reason behind it. Trying to escape maybe from a fucked up scenario. That's kind of what I got from it, but the text doesn't tell you those things. So who knows?
Yeah, it's true. And they kind of give you they kind of let you do your own thing with it. I mean, like, I kind of just got like an American Psycho thing from him, just like his character kind of like, you weren't sure, he was like rebel without a cause, they were kind of in love, and then his just character just degraded into this like shitty lesson about how all this stuff is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? That's the American Psycho thing. It reminds me of another great quote from that New Yorker article, and like they're basically saying that the movie is like really looking at the Reagan era, connecting that with sociopathic violence, with JD kind of being like his dad being one end of that. Even though like he thinks he's outside that system, they're he basically mimics the Heathers division of the world into the powerful and the powerless. So like, yeah, they kind of put him as a proto Patrick Bateman, because that book came out like 2 years later, I think, or 91.
91, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely something to that, and yeah, that's why that it makes the dad important. Like, he shows up so often, whereas like Heather is rich. That's another thing that I kind of struck me, that the other Heathers, they're not poor. I gather, but I think Veronica's, yeah, sorry, Veronica's rich, then the other Heathers are not poor, but she's rich. She eats pate. When they play croquet, it's at her place. Like, they're just like, I get, they're probably only friends with her because she's the rich chick. Although
I think
there
that's
are
true.
there are the other rich kids. There is the other rich clique, where they, what would you do with all that money? He's like, I know what I'd do. I'd give it over to my dad. He's one of the top investors in the state. Blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the point of saying that Veronica was rich is. It just kind of struck me watching it this time that there is something. She is in a different class, if we were going to talk in those terms. And I don't know how that factors into anything at all, but there.
Yeah, there's something about, there is a connection between that and Christian Slater's dad. Like, they're not that Veronica's parents seem like evil or anything like that, but there's something about like, this is the adult world you're headed towards. Like, his dad is sort of the legitimate face of all these like horrific like dynamics.
Yeah. Oh, and I think what I was thinking is that Veronica's parents are so fucking nothing. And they're just like, why do I read these spy novels? Because you're an idiot. Because you're an idiot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's
right.
Yeah, this constant repetition, and they're like, and Christian Slater is always like able to pull the wool over their eyes. Like, I'm worried that she might be going to commit suicide. He came to talk to us, and he gave us all these warning signs. And yeah, like that world is bland and static, whereas Christian Slater's world is chaotic, destructive, purposefully so. And then maybe that's the relationship that I'm thinking of. Maybe it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So,
did you guys enjoy? Actually, James, this being your first watch, did you enjoy the ending, the petition and all that?
the petition to blow themselves up.
Yeah.
The massive suicide pact, and everybody's just so fucking stupid and gullible that they'd likely believe that. Yeah, that's awesome. And then I like that he just fucking blew himself up, and she stood there with a fucking cigarette, liking all this stupid ash and big hair.
It's like a Looney Tunes moment.
It was like the dumbest ending. It was great. It was perfect. It was.
Yeah. I love that he has to like tap his his stupid bomb malfunctions. He's like tapping it to make it continue the countdown.
And I like that she like 180'd back into Heather at the end. And I don't know. It was great. It was a good ending. I like the movie. I'm gonna take this one away with me. I think it's a good one. And then there's a lot of like you guys say, you're talking about American Psycho after, and then just like the Drano gag was, that's an old classic horror trope thing too. They used that was in Scream, right. A couple of years later. So it's obviously it's influential. It's just I think it probably just doesn't get a lot of circulation, just like everybody's been saying throughout the whole thing, just because of the topics and the language and it's just it's not something you just pull out nowadays and be like, hey, this is something you need to check out if you want to have a whole bunch of gay bashing and
yeah. Although it's oddly enduring and like it's still like I was telling you guys, my cousin, like I saw pictures on Facebook and she dressed last year as Heather for like Halloween, and I was like, holy fuck, how do you know that movie?
Well, I think it's just because I think you could still get away with it too to this day, just because it's making fun of things that aren't funny. So it's hard to, I don't find there's any like aggressive purpose behind the swearing or the homophobia gags or the murders or the suicides or there's not like a deep darker purpose behind it where it's like this movie should be banned. It's just like it's not like that.
Yeah, like even the mineral water, like whatever, that's like more meant to make fun of like their like small time cop. Yeah.
There's some kind of a fag packed suicide pulls it out. That's all the evidence we need. Mineral water.
I happen to be drinking like sparkling water,
man.
like while that scene happened. Yeah.
I love mineral water.
Exactly.
It's all I drink.
It's come a long way.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, there it is.
I think I think what allows this movie to two things allow me to sort of forgive it. Well, lots of things about it, but two main things is that one, it is making fun of things that aren't funny, and so maybe there's three things. I like that, but it doesn't shy away from the fact that high school is a fucking nightmare, and Martha Dump Truck or whatever is emblematic of all the cruelty that each and every one of us will have either perpetuated or endured throughout our lives, because we all go to high school. And I think that's what makes high school dramas so interesting. But while normally we want to romanticize it and we want to feel nostalgic about it, this movie is like, no. This movie makes you look back at yourself. And then I guess but at the same time, it's an anti-establishment movie. Getting back to the word sneering, it sneers at all seriousness and all ideology and all romanticism, and it's just like, and I think that's always valuable, particularly with respect to high school dramas, which really irk me as things. So yeah.
Yeah. When you brought up Martha there, don't remind me, did you guys see some of the alternate endings that were rejected for this movie?
Nope.
Okay, so one of them was that like Veronica survives Christian Slater and then comes up and then she goes towards Martha and then Martha stabs her and calls her a Heather, and then it just ends like that.
Oh wow.
That would have been super dark. But I feel like they got the right ending. Because I feel like she has a journey, but that I wouldn't have minded that ending. would have been pretty, like, it would have been made a point, I guess.
Yeah, I think I would have liked that. I don't. Early on, I said I don't like this movie, and I still don't really like this movie. I think I would have liked that. I would have liked this movie if it had that ending.
Oh shit.
It's not like a lot of it's just not strong enough. And I know that sounds weird given everything that we've just talked about, but like it has like, it's still tepid, and it doesn't, it wants to touch on the vein, but it's just being so careful. Like it's just like, it's touching the vein, but it's really not pressing its finger into it and causing little splurts to come out, which I think is what I'd want from a movie like this. I say as I watch a bloody hand just activate a bomb in front of a school. You know. Do we
So
want
how
to go
would
to
you?
the
Yeah, do you want to
scoreboard?
rate it?
Give it to James first.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I'm a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think this is like, I think there's like a lot of influence here for a lot of other movies going forward, and I bet you there's a lot of people that have this baby in the back pocket, and I'm weirded out that this is my first go of it, because usually this type of weird perverted closet shit is high on my list of keepers. So I'm happy to put it away there right now.
Nice. I like what you're saying there. I'll go next. Even though I love this movie, I think I could only really give it like a 8.2 bottles of mineral water. It's because it is over the top. Some things I feel like don't work. Like if you give it a hard look, but it's still like you said, it opened up a space for movies. It opened up a space for teen movies. Things like Mean Girls, like Jawbreaker, which that's not really a big loss, but or maybe even like Yellow Jackets wouldn't exist without this sort of like viciousness or vicious look at like teen girls. So I love it for many reasons, including that one.
It's 8.2 for Yellow Jackets. I don't know what Yellow Jackets is, but that sounds awful.
Oh man, it's awesome.
It sounds terrifying. I mean, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like Lost meets Lord of the Flies with a girls soccer team plus cannibalism.
Oh shit! I know what you.
Awesome.
I remember that movie. I haven't seen it, but I remember the.
Oh
trailer.
No, it's a new TV show.
Oh, it's a TV show. Well, either way, I remember a trailer for it. I remember a thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like I'm gonna have a lot of trouble with this, like giving it a high mark, because again, don't like teen dramas. Not interesting to me. I'm looking at Martha Dumptruck right now. She looks 30 years old. And just sitting in a little wheeler, and I'm just like, why are you doing this? Please stop. But that said, I gotta give it props for what it is and what it's attempting to do. So I'll give it a 7 missing. What is it? Fingers? Index fingers?
Middle fingers.
Middle fingers. Yeah,
middle.
7.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, 7 severed middle fingers. And I'll just leave it at that. And
nice.
Any criticism that I have is mostly just sort of idiosyncratic.
One last little bit of trivia.
Please.
I want to let you guys know that people who were considered for Christian Slater's role include
I read
Jim
all
Carrey.
These guys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, Brad Pitt, Judd Nelson, and Jason Bateman.
Oh my goodness,
Jim
Jason
Carrey
Bateman.
would have been so fucking weird. Yeah, that would have been weird too.
Like, how old is Jason Bateman? Like Jason, like we're talking Arrested Development, Jason Bateman?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that wouldn't have fit.
And they thought Brad Pitt was too nice.
That's right.
Well, he was a little
They
nicer.
considered
back
Johnny Depp too, I guess, apparently.
I had seen that too. Yeah, that's right. That would have been too obvious. Like the just cart the whole cast of Tim Burton movies in there.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
I think Christian Slater nailed it. Great choice.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Christian Slater. It's a shame that his career was so lackluster. I mean, he's had I looked at what he's been up to, and he's a working man. Like he never stopped. Nothing ever stops Christian Slater. But I feel that he didn't. He was a star for a while, and his star fell. I might be totally wrong about that. But,
no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We saw him in an interview with the Vampire though.
Yeah,
bad.
he was like, by that point he was an A-lister, and then it was just like he was not.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's sad to not be an A-lister. Like everybody has different
career paths.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Anthony Hopkins wasn't an A-lister until he played Hannibal Lecter. I mean, that's a long career not being anybody, but before you transform to the perv wizard.
Yeah.
So.
Hey man, listen. Somebody has to play defense. Okay.
That's
the moral of every story.
I don't get the reference. I don't know what you're talking
There's no glory. There's no glory in defense.
Yeah, not everybody can be a hot shot that scores 50 goals, man.
Gotcha. Okay. This is real wisdom you're teaching me. I see.
Yeah.
Not everyone's a maverick to
There you go. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Your Top Gun love.
Yeah. Now I understand.
Somebody's a goose.
Yeah.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.